Hello everyone, welcome to Module 1. Today we will be discussing the Revit 2019 launch screen and the application menu. So when you launch Revit 2019, on the left you will see options to open existing Revit models or to create new models and to open an existing family or to create new families. On the right, you will see the recent files that you've been working on. So you can just hover onto those files and click on that and you'll be able to open the files. Below here, you can also see the families that you've been working on or the ones that you have saved on your PC. So right now, I'm able to see the sample architecture projects in my recent files. So we can see that the sample projects come with Revit 2019 and they're saved in your C drive, program files, Autodesk, Revit 2019 samples folder. I can either just click on this button over here to open the project, or I can go to open here and navigate to the location of this Revit model or whichever model you want to open. You can navigate to that. So right now I'm going to cancel this and I'm just going to open my Revit sample architecture model just by clicking here. It's taking so much time to open. Okay. So this is basically the start screen of the project. We can actually set it up on our own also. We will discuss that later on. Let's get to the user interface of Revit. The most important thing on the left is the project browser. Let me minimize all of these tabs. So we can see that the views, legends, schedules, sheets, families, groups, Revit links, almost everything that is loaded or that has been created by you in this project can be browsed through this project browser. Let's say in views, you will see all the floor plans that you create. For example, if I double click on level 1, I can see this plan. If I double click on 3D views approach, you'll see this. So just like that, all the views that you create in your model, all the sections that you create, elevations that you create, everything will show up in your views tab. Let me minimize it. Now all the legends that you create here will be showing up in legends. And schedules. We will come to schedules in detail in the advanced trainings. But for now, we can see that everything that is there in the project, we can actually create 3D schedules out of it, live 3D schedules, and they will show up under schedules. Then we have sheets. All the sheets that you create will be under the Sheets tab. Under families, we can see all the family types and all the categories that are there, which have been loaded into this project. So we have some annotation symbols mainly, or any casework families, floors families, or walls. So all the wall types will be listed here under. So these are some basic walls that we already have in the model. So this is basically a way to browse through your families, and it is a very easy way to browse through the families. Then if you create any model groups or detailed groups, they will start showing up under Groups tab. Revit links. If you link any structures models or any MEP models to your architecture model, then those links will start showing up under this. Right now, we don't have any links in this particular architecture model. So that's all about the project browser for now. We'll be learning how to create new views, new sheets, new schedules, legends, families, everything later on. Now, on the top here, you can see a quick access toolbar. So here I can see this button, default 3D view. you'll be using this very often. So right now I'm just going to click on it. It shows me the default Revit 3D view. Now the best thing about Revit 2019 is that all the views that you open are going to show up here in tabs. This feature is not available in other Revit versions. So you can simply click on the view and open it. And also you can close it. So I don't need these other views, so I'm just going to close it. One more easy way to do it is, let's say that I want to keep my 3D view open and I want to close all the other views. Again, I can do that using the quick access toolbar. So already here you have this button for close inactive views. If I click on that, you can see that all the inactive views just vanish and only my 3D view now is open in the model. Moving on. So this is basically our workspace. Okay, and on the right we have our properties palette. This is also very important. If I click in the blank space outside, you can see that this shows me a 3D view. So this particular element, when I click outside, is a 3D view. The category for this is also a 3D view. And here on the left we see all of the instant properties of this 3D view. For example, the crop view, crop region, section box. We will come to all of these things later on. Now, for the properties palette, the most important thing to learn is that the properties palette will show you the properties of the element that you have selected. So right now I haven't selected anything, so it's showing me properties for that 3D view because I've clicked here in an empty space in the 3D view. Let's say that I select this particular element, which is a wall. Now, the moment I select it, the properties palette is going to change and it's going to show me that particular wall type. So we can see that this wall is a basic wall SIP 202 mm thick wall. And the category for this is walls. And these are all of the instant properties. Instant properties means the properties of this particular wall. Now, the next thing here, this is a very important button, which is the edit type button. Let me show you what it is. So basically, this edit type shows you the type properties. It shows you that this wall is a system family, basic wall SIP 202 mm. You can edit the structure. You can edit its coarse scale fill pattern and all of these things. We'll come to these later on. So on the left, we have the parameters, and then on the right, we have the values of those parameters. Okay, so this particular type has these values for all of the parameters on the left. Now these are type properties, which means that if I make any change, for example, if I change the roughness of this wall type from 1 to 2, and then I say okay, let's say I'm doing it right now, I'm going to say 2 and then I say okay. What happens is that all the walls of this type that have been created in this project are going to have a roughness of 2. Okay, but if I change anything over here, so let me think, what should I change? Let's say that I change the top offset of this wall from the top. So a wall is being created by the base constraint level 2 and top constraint. So I'm going to give it a top offset of minus 200. If I do this, you can see that this wall comes down by a little bit. So I'm just giving it a top offset of minus. I'm just going to give it minus 500. Okay, just ignore this for now. So what happened here is that when I made this instant property change to this particular wall, I did a top offset of minus 500. Only this particular wall type got affected, not the other walls which have been created. Now let's check how many wall types there are. So if I right click here, select all instances, visible in view, you can see that there are 4 walls here. You can see in the bracket the number of those particular wall types. So the basic wall SIP 202 mm wall, there are 4 types of these walls over here. Okay, but the top offset here is blank because every wall has a different top offset, which makes top offset an instance property. If I click on this particular wall, it shows me the top offset. So it's different for every wall. But if I again say select all instances, visible in view, and click on edit type, you can see that this roughness, if I change it over here, if I make it 2 and say okay, if I select this wall type and go to edit type and change its roughness to 1 and say okay, and then I select on this particular wall type, which is here, which is the same type, and then I go to edit type, you can see that the roughness for this has also changed. Okay, we'll see that for this particular wall, I'll say I want a roughness of 2, and then I'll say okay. Then again, this wall, if I go to edit type, you can see that the type property for this one also changes. So this is the difference between a type property and an instance property. Okay, now let's move on to the ribbon. The ribbon is this part over here. So we have a lot of different tabs and a lot of different tools. First one is the architecture tab, which is the most relevant one for us right now. You have these panels under the architecture tab. For example, this is the build panel. Build panel is self-explanatory. It's basically for creating some 3D elements. For example, to create walls, doors, windows, blah, 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 curtain walls, everything, every architecture element to be created in 3D can be found under this build panel. Then to create 3D elements for circulation like railings, ramps, stairs can be found in this panel. Model is basically model text. If you want 3D text on your floors, it kind of looks like this. And if you want model lines, which is also 3D lines to be created, then you can go to this tool. You can also create 3D rooms in your project, which can later on be tagged. For example, if you have a living room, you can create a 3D living room object over there, and then you can add some 3D information and parameter information to that room. We'll come to this later on. You have your openings panel where you can create openings by face, you can create shafts, you can create openings by wall, and so on. The datum here, is gray because we are not in a plan or elevation view, we're in a 3D view, so that's why it's gray. Then work plane is a different topic altogether. We come to that later on. Then we have structures, steel, so all the elements for these things, those that you want to pick and create, will show over here. For now, let's move on to the Insert tab. Insert tab is basically for linking or importing or loading anything from outside this model. For example, if you want to link a Revit model, link an IFC, link a CAD file, link a topo, or blah blah blah, there's so many things. Link a point cloud. So everything you can link through this panel in Insert tab under Link. And if you want to import a CAD file, then you can do it from here. You can also import images through this button. It's grayed out because we're in a 3D view. And then you can insert views and you can insert 2D elements from another file also. We'll get to this later on. And if you want to load any new family into your project, for example, a table family, you want another new different design for the table, you want a new family, you can load it through this button. Then annotate is very important when you start going into your documentation stages. So this has all of the symbols and detail items that you need for documentation purpose. For example, spot elevations, dimensions, you need detail lines, detail regions, and this is a category for tagging. You can tag materials, you can tag by category, you can tag each and every element in the model, and you can also have keynotes in your model. And this is for symbols. So we have all types of symbols, for example, centerline symbol and some basic symbols which are mostly already loaded into our Revit model. Analyze tab, you can ignore it for now. Massing Insight is basically for creating any site and topo surface. So this is a different training. And collaboration, we are not doing collaboration in the basic course. View tab in ribbons is basically used for creating new views. So let's say in the project browser, you have these floor plans, level 1 and level 2. But then later on in the next phase, I end up creating another level, level 3. And if I want to create a new view for that particular level, then this view tab is going to help me create those new views. So you have options to create new floor plans, new reflected ceiling plans, structure plans, and area plans. If I click on this, I'll just show it to you. I can create a floor plan type for these particular levels in the model. For now, I'm not going to create them. Let me just quickly go to the elevations view. We can see that these are the levels that have been created in the model. So for example, if I want a level created for the roof line, then I'll go to view, go to plan views, create a floor plan for the roof line. Okay, now you can see that here under floor plans, a new roof line model, a roof line plan has been created. All right, so under views, we have view templates. View templates is basically for controlling the visibility graphics of a particular view. For example, how I want to see the elements. We'll get into this later on again. Then you can create 3D views from here. You can create sections. You can create callouts, plan views. I already showed you. You can create elevations through here. So if you click here on elevations, you can see that you get this pointer thingy over here. And if I place it, now suddenly this new elevation 1A is created. Okay, this is the same thing that I have. All right, so if I click on this, this is the elevation view that we have created. You can edit its depth and you can edit its extents. And to go to this particular view, you can either right click on it and say go to view. Okay, go to view will come if you click on this triangular thingy and then you right click on it and then you can say go to elevation view. All right, now you can see that this one, the new elevation 1A that we created has been highlighted. So this basically, this ribbon is being used to create new views. You can create drafting views, you can duplicate the views, you can create legends, you can create schedules from here, you can create new sheets. All right, now let's go to the manage button. Manage button is basically a little bit advanced stuff. For example, project parameters, shared parameters. So these things that you see here on the left, these are all project parameters. So we'll come to that later on. Add-ins, if you have any new add-ins, then those add-ins, for example, Dynamo, etc. If you have those installed, those will show under the add-ins tab. Oh no, Dynamo shows under the Manage tab nowadays. It used to show under add-ins, but it shows under Dynamo. So for example, the Avail browser, etc. The add-in that I have is showing under add-ins. Enscape is just an add-in that I've installed. I'm going to ignore that. Now, the Modify tab is basically for moving stuff, copying stuff, just like you have AutoCAD, you have your move commands, you have copy commands, you have rotation commands, you have offset commands, you have align commands. So those modification stuff is seen in the Modify tab. We'll get into this in detail later on. Okay, now since this is about the user interface, it's very important for me to discuss under the View tab we have a user interface button which controls the display of user interface components, including the status bar and the project browser. If I click on this, here I can see that what it is and how it is that I want to see my project. So if I click on navigation bar, you see that the navigation bar goes away. Navigation bar in 3D. And then if I remove the project browser from here, you can see that the project browser on the left is gone. And if I want to see it back again, I'm going to click on this and the project browser comes back. So you can arrange your Revit model in a way that you want. If you want to see the project browser and what else you want to see, for example, the properties, I can either switch it off, I can switch it on from here. So if by any chance you end up clicking this close button and then you're all confused where to find my properties thing, so you can just go to your View tab in your user interface. You will see the properties button and you can have it back. Then you have the status bar. Status bar is basically this thing that you see down below over here. So that is the status of what it is that you are hovering on. It's at the bottom of the Revit window. If I switch it off, you can see that the Revit status bar is gone, but it's better to always keep it on. These things we can ignore for now. Okay. View cube is this thing. We'll come to this navigation things that we need. We'll come to it later on. So you see this view cube, it's going on and off. Then browser organization, keyboard shortcuts. These are separate thing. Let's move on to this files tool here. Files tool is basically like any other application. You can open new projects, families, create new stuff, or you can open new projects, families from here. You can save your family, you can do a save as for your family, or you could also export your model to CAD formats or to some other formats like IFC. You can print also from here. Like print here will send the current drawing or selected views and sheets to a printer, but you can just use Control P shortcut for that. No need to go here, and that's it. This options here is going to take you to some different options that you can, with which you can kind of optimize or change the Revit the way you want to see it. So this is going to be another tutorial. So that's it, guys. This training was just basically to give you an overview of the user interface for Revit. Thank you so much. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please subscribe. Thank you.